two of them are mine, and two of them are books, both posthumously published, the work of Enid Dame. And I'm going to read a few poems from each of them. The first one is my book, Grief. It was published a few years back. I haven't read in a long time, it's written about the loss of Enid's passing. Some of the poems were written before, some after that period. So I'm going to read a few poems from this book, which I haven't read in quite some time. The Trail. The trail was arduous, but usually rising, which we thought was generally good, often falling into funny ruts and crevices, and very unpleasant wet or gaseous spots. But we dutifully, sometimes joyfully, followed it, hand in hand, as it mostly rose, and now we see that it ends shortly ahead of us at a bleak promontory, which we will probably be approaching at night, too weary and terrified and committed not to stumble past. Another day. A cough emerged from the other room. A fan blew cool on my neck. I am here to celebrate existence, say that it is good, then go on to another day when one hopes one's beautiful old long-haired cat does not die, when one's wife's terrible disease does not hasten on its destructive path but stops along the way to perhaps atone, and one's own deserved agonies take a holiday, a lovely day to contemplate, a Disney day with happy animals and birds at play, a child's day. Connections. This is about connections. We always were connected. We'd sit together, say at a theater, and she would touch me, my knee maybe, just to check on the connection. And the times we were in different cities, I guess those times were few considering the number of years we would always telephone any night we were apart. Connections. I was trying to get at something bigger, something maybe cosmic, but I can't really come up with anything. Like my plug is out of its socket. We held hands. We held hands across the portable hospital counter. You sitting on the bed and I across in that chair. You trying to keep breathing the oxygen, diminishing how much I hadn't realized. You didn't want me to go. You said, "You're not staying the night again." And I said, "Not this time. I was afraid of 2 nights in a row. I got heart palpitations last night. But I stayed much longer than I had intended. But at last I waved goodbye and left you with terror. When I got back to Jersey, there was a call waiting for me, and I had to turn right around and got no sleep anyway. How can you forgive me?" And this is photo above this word processor. Her back to the Pacific Ocean, she stretches her hands toward us, a victorious embrace. Her very California little pink hat in her left hand, her right palm frontward, her smile made glorious by suffering a blessing. Blessed as I am, I choke. Memories are too huge to speak of, to write my way out of. Another object for motto could be this little glass of deep red wine beside me. A little frieze of white leaves surrounds the glass a third of the way below the rim. The wine tastes better than it should. And next I want to read, here's a poem. This is a book, it's done a Shiva stand. It was printed, it's like a, it's like a numbered, limited edition, printed and beautifully printed in Kathmandu by Sheila Stamp Press. And it's a volume, memorial volume. It's called "Where Is the Woman?" and it contains 9 poems and 9 letters that Enid sent me from in the summer of 2003 when she was in this cancer clinic out in California. And she said like poems she was working on, and some of the poetry in here is among the best. And a wonderful poem here is called, we were thinking of selling the little house in High Falls because our work was in the city and it was just getting a little too hard to make the trip back and forth. So that's the background of this poem of Enid's. So this is by Enid Dame. The idea of a house. The idea of a house with a broken screened-in porch, a wild grapevine spreading inside. The idea of a lawn, untended, gone wild. Yet here are the roses of Sharon, planted during a hopeful time, flaunting their fragrant purples. Here's the bold bee balm, still attracting travelers. Here are the cat's graves, impatience flowing over them. The ancient rose bush, which, in the absence of a trellis, clambered up a near tree, surprising us in our upstairs spring window, blazing like autumn fire. The idea of a bedroom under a slanting roof, pillows piled high, bright squared Afghan tower books on the floor, long nights read into mornings, waiting for a familiar tread on the stairs, waiting to be joined. The idea of 2 people working in separate rooms. One is fastening down words in wax. One is cutting garlic, tomatoes, basil, sorrel for spring, spinach if it's winter, building the soup they will eat together later, meeting at the table. The idea of quiet mornings between 2 windows while light overtakes the room, and all the house's former lives. The stalwart bachelor, the artist, the woman alone with her baby, clustering the walls, invisible pictures, lending their clarity. The idea of a life where everything has its room, its time, its shelf, its life. The idea of a house, holding that life, letting it take its shape, like a candle's glass chimney. The idea of a house will persist, even when the house is sold, even when the lives lived there live elsewhere, and newcomers move in. They will unpack new words, vegetables, cooking pots. They will remodel the kitchen. They will add another chapter to the house's biography. They will set up new routines to sustain them in the shadows we leave behind. That was by Enid Dame.